We only have the best.
This is Ryan Bolda. How's it going, everybody? Got a lot to talk about today. If you've heard my new intro song, I'm working on it. There's definitely more. It could be tweaked, but I'm definitely working on it. I think it's good for the next few episodes at least. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. So I'm gonna focus on social media a little bit. I've been kind of poking around, asking questions, trying to do my own little bit of research. More recently, I had asked a question on social media that addresses like seeds versus clones, right? See, we talk about cannabis a lot because we sell cannabis seeds and cannabis derived products. So this is kind of what that conversation was about. And it was interesting to see all of the responses and answers. We had answers for seeds, people concerned with preserving the genetics or reducing contamination, basically. No outside issues from a different grower or supplier or whatever. Starting from seed would be like the safest option, most stable option, probably more of an exotic option, I would say, if you're trying to, from what I've feedback I've gotten, people like the uniqueness of some of the strains that you can only get from, by seed. Just, however, then we got clones, and clones is a very fast way to get a lot more plants really fast. And what people do is they maintain a mother plant because generation of clones, a clone being cloned from a clone being cloned from a clone, it starts to diminish the potency of the plant itself. So if you're looking to get high THC concentrations and larger yields, every time the plant is cloned, you're reducing the chances of that happening every single time. And who knows really when you've gotten a clone? It could be, first generation, it could be a second generation, it could be a 10th generation, just not really 100% confident. And that's where getting reputable genetics comes in hand, right? We've partnered up with a couple cannabis companies to bring you guys safe, effective, high yielding, high testing cannabis genetics. Reach out to us, visit our website, cbdsurgeons.shop. That is our online store. Going to move forward with the main content of the day. My interview with Jeffrey J. I'm not so certain he would like me calling him a mycologist. However, he is a very experienced mushroom cultivator, and he's got a lot of wisdom and knowledge to drop on us. Don't usually do interviews on audio only. However, I am going to do it with him. Now, Jeffrey, he lived, and he's going to explain this as well, but he lives in what they call a border town. And I'm going to give some context to this so for people to really understand it or get a visualization. He lives off of a Native American protected reservation, what they call a border town. Border town basically is where people from the reservation come to buy their stuff, go do whatever, and then go back to the reservation. Well, this is where he's at. He doesn't live on the reservation, but he is still very much attached to the reservation. So I would like to know, how did you get going in this direction, my friend?
Uh, got into, I guess, this direction when I was uh, advancing my addictions, and I heard of someone selling some magic mushrooms, and I wanted to escape this reality because I was miserable, thinking it was like marijuana or cocaine or something like that. And then I felt love for the what I feel was the first time in my life, and that gave me all the hope I needed to just hang on in there for like 11 years. And so between here and there, I started growing my own mushrooms.
What I found really interesting, and especially for people who are in the recovery community, is people have found like a new purpose and even not even just growing mushrooms, but consuming them. So there's like growing mushrooms versus eating them or doing both. Sometimes you gotta have both, right? But I have to ask you, what exactly is it for you that has been more beneficial?
The consuming has definitely been more important. The I guess realizing there's mycophobia in America, and even more so on the Navajo reservation, they have taboos saying that you'll have stuff, you'll go blind is the main one. Is what they believe, and I guess that has to do with the spores. There's a lot of puffballs that grow on the Chusca Mountain on the reservation. So I know puffballs can cause temporary blindness. So I'm sure that I'm assuming that was the originator of the scare. Um, but I was just really into learning the mushroom stuff, but there was like no books at Barnes and Noble or Borders. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the time, and there was really no books. There was at the gas pipe, this head shop, this where they sell, glass pipes. They were selling $40 Paul Stamets, the Mushroom Cultivator, and I saved up my money for several months because I had a grocery job and going to college for electronics, but this scarcity of like even like going to like I was looking in college saying, oh, I want to be a mycologist, doing this stuff. There is no such thing. And that's why I said I'm gonna have to find it online, like I do everything. Everything's online. I couldn't wait for the internet to come along, and it's all there for free.
Most definitely, most definitely. It has never been easier to get information. Like, where are you? Are you still located in the reservation?
I guess it's like a border town. So I the like for right now, like for instance, I'm documenting the street people, and they're all coming. I mean, majority of them are coming from the nearby reservations, and it's just for the families that are looking for them. And that's so the stuff that's going on the reservation is is prominent here as well. It's and But yeah, I was on the reservation. That was so I'm talking about the Navajo reservation being up north from where I'm at, and then I was born and raised on the Zuni reservation because my father's Zuni and my mom's Navajo.
Honestly, man, I really want to learn more about the tribe. So, tell me more about where is it located? Like, tell me more about it.
Yeah, it's like federally owned. So like uh there's different laws for Zuni and different laws for Navajo. They have their own because they have their own governments. But I guess it's like American ish. um the like there's trading posts and there's chapter houses that's part of the government on the Navajo reservation, and in Zuni it's just so tiny. It doesn't even compare to the Navajo res. But the active mushroom scene is non-existent. There was a dealer that came through and burnt everyone with duds that weren't active at all, and so there's this heavy stigma. So when I was growing and trying to share it, everybody was like nah, no, yeah, no thanks. It's probably a dud, and so it was like, all right, more for me, because I was just trying to share my personal growth, and I never became a dealer or anything like that because it's like I guess it's kind of like, well, the street, the get a girlfriend and then the girlfriend wants to burn me, or and then go out and there's competition, and then the competitors don't want to get rid of me as a competitor, stuff like that start is there in the streets. uh that's what I definitely didn't want part in. And but I was going to like AA meetings and giving out magic mushrooms, and you know going to the my therapy session, group therapy sessions, and saying, hey, what do you think about magic mushrooms? There's all this, even scientific studies. You should try it out. And they're like, you can kind of see this like reaction, like, whoa, like that's that bad, illegal federal stuff, federal crimes, level stuff. And then, but they're, then they take it and they have their like this. So the magic mushroom stuff brings out, to me, brings out the trauma from my past to face, brings up feelings that I never knew existed, and that I've been missing out on, that a healthy human should enjoy. So the good and the bad. And so, and then, yeah, so like good and the bad, there's also some good trips, some good experiences. It feels like a reward. So for me, it's like the best trip is when I go into an ego death, where you're humble, and then you go down into the dark past and you cry your eyes out till there's no more tears, and then life moves on from that. And then you're like, it feels like the angels lift me up and reward me for facing my fears. And then I'm in like springtime, this spiritual plane where it's always spring there, and it's written in books. But like Astrodynamics is a book by Robert Bruce. He talks about springtime in that book.
Well, what I'm kind of trying to figure out now is how do I get to springtime? um, I mean, is springtime somewhere you go frequently, often, intentionally? What is springtime?
Well, for me personally, I sometimes end up there, and this is like mega doses, like 10 grams, on up. You get really blasted out into somewhere else, but it's not really an escape. Definitely not an escape from myself, which is, I guess, truly what I was trying to do when I was advancing my addiction, shamelessly.
Yeah, addiction sucks. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, and like there was a friend of mine in the AA meetings, and he was we were good. Our hearts were in the good place, but then he started to backslide and was asking me to come drink with him. And then I ended up backsliding and joined him, and that was January 6th, earlier this year. And I said, here he says, that I gotta pick myself up. I gotta make a bunch of money. With your help, I'll just deal mushrooms, and I'll be making it big time. There's always big money in dealing. And I was like, okay, here's a pick a jar of mushrooms, and it was already set. It was already set, and it was like, here you go. Just this is already grown. It's already alive. Here, you can have this, and you can harvest it and sell it. So what does he do? He eats a bunch of it, and he has an ego death, and he was just scared out of his wits from this mushroom stuff. And he was like, I can't believe you eat this, like once a month, And I said, man, it's healing.
It is really healing, and a lot of that stuff has to do, I think, addiction. As far as addiction, like a lot of things stem within your family, I think, and well, at least it did for me. And mushrooms kind of allowed me, mushroom medicine kind of allowed me to start forming some of those relationships with people in my family. No, my mom and dad, I suppose. And I'll never forget the first time I ate mushrooms. I had a couple friends over, and we ate some mushrooms and we're laughing. It was all good, but then they had to leave, and I was just stuck with myself. I'm upstairs in my room, thinking my parents are talking about me. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know he's definitely on mushrooms." Blah blah blah. Like he's an idiot, waste of a son. And I'm just thinking all that stuff that they know I ate these mushrooms. So I go downstairs and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I know I did eat mushrooms, and like I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of freaking out. And my mom, bless her freaking heart, she comes over with these fuzzy socks and puts these fuzzy socks on my feet. And it was just like the one thing I was like that I would have never thought of me needing at that time. I'm like, dude, I need these fuzzy socks. So I can definitely relate to that, that aspect, and even this a small way. But I guess my main point is that it is healing, and it helps you form relationships, with important people in your life. And I think, let's take that, like my small story about the socks, right? I mean, I've remembered that my whole life, and have relived it a couple times, and I really felt my mom's genuine care in that moment. She could have freaked out and yelled at me and all this stuff, but instead, she didn't really care about any of that, and it was just, the only thing that was important was that I felt better and that I was okay. And then, that started having me look at my mom a little bit differently.
Yeah, being in the moment with them. Uh, uh, like like uh like the bad trip first is like dealing with my own crap that is making me crazy and lose control of my thoughts. I don't have a control of my emotions, and then I face my fears, and now I have more peace of mind. And then now with that peace of mind, I'm able to pay attention to somebody else besides me because I'm narcissistic. And then I and then I'm healing from that. And then now I'm noticing, like, people like my mom and the tremendous unconditional love she's given me. And when I first was tripping, she's like, oh, I'm coming over, I'm going to come over and visit you. And I was in Albuquerque. She had to travel like 2.5 hours to come visit me. And what do? I was like, man, I don't got nothing. I don't got no beer to stay buzzed. I don't got no weed to stay high. I guess I'll just take these mushrooms. And then I took it, and it wasn't like massive. I didn't have any kind of visuals, but I could feel it. And I was like it was as if I had my mom under a microscope, and I had microscope eyes, and I was totally in the moment with her. And that's, I think, when that was the beginning of our relationship. But like you're saying, I was just never in the moment with her. But I'm glad that in just like in a dough in a I just grabbed a bunch of mushrooms and put it in my mouth. I didn't even measure it because I was just like jonesing for something, escape. At that time I was so miserable, and I was already growing and eating my own, but there was a lot of healing that had to be done, and I was still early in that healing.
So let me get this straight a little bit. So your mom was coming over, and you thought, damn, I just really need to eat a whole bunch of mushrooms right now to like deal with what's about to happen. Is that what you're saying?
No, she was coming over. She's like, I'm gonna come by and visit. Surprise! I'm in town. I'm on the outskirts of Albuquerque. I'm gonna be over there in minutes. And I'm like, I drank my last beer. My buzz is going away, and I can't be normal. The way my mom always said, "What's wrong with just being normal?" Like, and I was like, because I'm miserable when I'm normal. when I'm not inebriated or under some kind of substance. But and so I was always chasing that high, and so that's the only thing I had were the mushrooms, and I was kind of like overwhelmed with how much it's blown me away in the past already. But I said I'll just take a little dose, and it was I could still feel it. It wasn't a microdose, but it was something a little bit extra, and that was the situation I was in. But lately, whenever there's a dispute, there's tension rising for instance, when my ex when I broke up with my ex, I had to go back and pick up, important documents like my
Like my mushrooms.
of mushrooms, and I say, and I say, okay, I'm gonna take, I'll probably take, this stem and maybe one other, and then and the, I just eat and roll it. That's how. I mean, but the thing is, it's better with like pick like some kind of acid like lemon juice. It breaks down that it breaks it down so it's easier to digest. Some people have stomach problems. I've not experienced that.
I have heard of the stomach issues thing. I definitely have heard of that. I actually just did a little bit of research lately on adaptogens on my last episode, so it's really interesting. And I'm not 100% certain if this applies to psilocybin mushrooms, but there's like adaptogens that help your body. It helps you adapt to things basically, and that's why it has its name. But the best thing I love about mushrooms is you find like these little glimpses of lessons in love in every moment that in um, a normal state, I would say, in a completely sober state, you look past. And, maybe they're self made and, but I don't. I don't see the harm in it, and it helps people cope. It helps people be in a better day. Like, why not?
Yeah, there's inspirations of love, and I think that's why, like, when my friend was hell bent on advancing his alcoholism on January 6th, that was he was when he had that ego death, it wasn't welcome. It was fearful for him because I mean it wasn't worth returning to because I personally, this is an assumption. I don't know the facts, but when I was in his situation, yeah, I didn't I was heading the opposite direction than what the mushrooms were teaching, and what the mushrooms are showing, like for instance, what I mean by showing is like they'll bring up the crap that I did wrong against the people that love me, and and I'll be crying it out. I'll heal from that. I'll see my wrongs, and I know that I did it out of anger because I felt that they made me sad, and that sadness comes from the trauma from earlier in my life down to childhood, because there's like many traumatic events. I've met people who just had one and they're done, and that's amazing.
Yeah, I got the job done. But a lot of people just aren't ready to peel back those layers yet.
But there's, like you're saying, layers, and it just there's just so much. And so I'm glad that trauma, once you get rid of that seed, that trauma, that caused the sadness, that caused the anger, that caused that made, that where I made bad decisions to like destroy, my house with alcoholism, and burn the bridges of trust with the people that love me. That seed is gone and healed from, and now there's more peace of mind, and now I can have more control of my thoughts. I have more control of my emotions.
Most definitely. Well, it definitely seems like you got a good head on your shoulders, and given the hand that you're dealt and trying to play, and the in between kind of being modernized and then traditional. I bet it's really difficult. But so, where exactly is the reservation like closed off, or can you go back? I guess is my main question.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like reservations, they're not closed off or nothing. In fact, people do stuff. It's kind of funny. There's like witchcraft laws in Zuni, and if you are caught, practicing witchcraft, you're outed from the reservation, and the police will arrest you on sight if they see you try to come back on the reservation. There's that kind of stuff that is that has to do with the border. Years ago, and I know in New Mexico, like KOAT, will report it even though it's not true. One year, Zuni had closed down that Highway 53, and it's a highway that semi trucks use sometimes, and they closed.
Highway 53 is Arizona. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in northern Arizona on the like border town they call it, and there's border towns, and so like people usually go there to, I mean, to shop and get what they need, supplies. But then also there's the alcoholics that come, and then they have a good time, I guess, in the downtown area, and then they go back to go back home, usually on the weekends or several weeks. But that's where that's that I've been frequently going over there recently, but to just just because I have a heart for them, and but also I ran into some people that were looking for their loved ones in the past, but otherwise, the you can always leave the reservations, but it's just like it's really hard. There's really no the economy is just really, there's a lot of poverty. There's sections that.
When you say poverty, do you mean like are these people suffering, or is this like out of complete by choice, or just lack of money? Is that what you mean? There's not a whole bunch of people out on the street, I guess, is my main point.
It's not that bad. In fact, with I mean, it might be with, I don't know. I can speak for Zuni for sure because that's where I was born and raised. And there are young people like, I was initiated into the Zuni Kiva system, and so I'm kind of I relate to them, so I can see it their way. The way I see it is like a closed, what is it, like a gated community.
So, if you want to listen to the other half of my interview with Jeffrey J, subscribe to our Plus program, Subscriber Plus program, and you'll be able to listen to the rest of that later today once I get it completed. I appreciate everybody's support. As we wrap up today's enlightening episode of Only the Best Herbs, I want to leave you with a thought. In a world filled with countless choices, why settle for anything less than the best? Your health and well-being deserve premium, natural, and authentic herbs. That's exactly what we offer. Don't take our word for it. Just experience it yourself. Visit our website now at cbdsurgeons.shop. Discover a world of pure, potent, and unparalleled herbal products. Remember, when it comes to herbs, only the best will do. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay naturally healthy and empowered. We'll talk soon.